15 minutes to go to the hour of 8 o'clock. Our next guest is a Bajan Afar, and what a story to tell. Her name is Kandasi Chimbiri. Good morning to you, Kandasi.
Good morning, Pearson.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. A little bit cold here in London, but I'm doing well.
Well, we're doing well in hot, sunny Barbados. You know what to do. Get on the next plane and come on over.
Soon, very soon.
Soon and very soon you're coming to Barbados. Now, first of all, a couple of things. One, the last name. You know, we say Bajan and we don't think Chimbiri is a Bajan name. So where did that come
No,
from?
it's not. It's not a Bajan name. It's actually an African name.
All right, so it's an African. Do you have any idea what it means?
No, it doesn't. I don't actually. I don't think it has any meaning. I think it's just a region in Africa.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you're there. You were born in London, but in the 80s, 1980, you came to Barbados and you did your secondary education here. And now there you are again. So, how has it been for you there, here, and back there? What does all that do to you?
Yes, I think when you live in more than one place, it gives you very different perspectives. My parents came to to London in the 60s. As you said, I was born here, but had all my secondary education in Barbados. But I actually came back to London when I was 28. So I had
Hmm.
worked in Barbados as well. And now I've been here for more years, I'm going to tell you. But but it does influence you when you live in between two different places. It gives you different perspectives on both places, and I think it's a good thing.
So much so that it's rooted you in your own identity. And you've written this book called The Afro Story. Talk to me a little bit, the story of the Afro hair. Talk to me about that.
Yes, so the story of Afro hair, 5,000 years of history, fashion, and styles, is actually a book that I wanted to write since 2013. I worked on an exhibition at the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge in 2013, which was tracing 6,000 years of Afro combs. So we were looking at Afro combs from ancient Egypt right through to the modern blackfist comb. And it was a wonderful exhibition. I think about 30,000 people attended the exhibition, and people loved it for different reasons. But a lot of people that loved it were people who maybe weren't interested in Black history, but they were very, very interested in hair. Because obviously, one of the purposes of a comb, not the only purpose, but one of the purposes is obviously to groom and style the hair. And I remember at the time thinking it would be so good to have something like this, but more focused on the hair itself. And so the idea for this book, and it's not my first book, but the idea for this one has been bubbling in my mind for quite a while. And it covers ancient, medieval, and modern history. So 5,000 years, not of the styles, how to create them, but the context behind them. So, why do we consider certain styles fashionable and acceptable? Why do we wear certain styles and why don't we wear others?
So how has that been though, your move to the Afro hair in a space where you live, which is so cosmopolitan, but at the same time, they would look at you a little differently when you style your hair differently from theirs.
I personally haven't had that experience,
Good.
but you're right. The context of writing the book, a lot of people have had that book, and there has been a lot of discussion recently, mainly at women, men too, but more at women about hairstyles that are considered acceptable, not acceptable. Is Afro hair okay? Do you have to straighten your hair? And so on. So that was part of the context for my writing the book, not as something personal to me, but as something that could educate and help people to understand. So some of the book actually deals with the biology of the hair as well. So it's not just the history, it starts with explaining why Afro hair has the textures that it has, how it grows out of the hair follicle. I didn't see that in any other books for children. Just a few books for maybe people that were learning hairdressing, but it wasn't filtering down. And that's why I felt that was so important.
Now, obviously, you've studied this. I haven't read the book yet. Now I'm curious then. So you said there's some questions as to why this or why that, why this, why the texture and so forth. What are the answers to those questions? I know you're going to tell me read the
Well, the
book.
Well, the answers are in the book, of course, but it
Yeah.
is to do with the shape of our hair follicles, which are pockets in the skin. And
Mm,
this is something that I feel quite passionate about because one of the things that I noticed from 2013 when I was looking into this topic is that we don't see that in books for children and even for adults sometimes. We just see pictures. If you looked right now, if you Googled hair follicle on the internet right now, you would see a straight hair coming out of a straight
yes.
hair follicle. That's not actually hair. That's one example.
Hmm.
You wouldn't expect to Google skin color and just see one color of skin coming up. There are a diversity of skin tones and there are also a diversity of hair types. An afro hair type, like mine and
Hmm.
yours, grows
Hmm.
out of a curved hair follicle. So that's part of the reason. But there are other reasons as well, which are explained in the
In
book.
the book. In the book. You got to read the book to see it for yourself. How has it been though, being Barbadian in Southeast London? You know, do you get a chance to interact with many others who are from Barbados?
I do because I have lots of friends here that we went to school together in Barbados who also live here. So we actually have a bit of a community. We're not all in South London. Some of us are in Reading, some of us are in Leeds. So it has been difficult, obviously, over the last couple of years with the
Yes.
pandemic, but there is a whole community of us and also wider than Barbados because even when I lived in Barbados, many friends would come and visit before I moved, back to the UK,
Hmm.
and they're from other countries as well. So it's Barbadian, but it's also pan Caribbean and wider.
Oh, that's beautiful. If you had to make a choice right now of where would you want to really settle? Would it be Barbados or would it be for the staying in the UK?
It would actually be right now both. I would ideally like to live 6 months in
Hmm.
Barbados and 6 months in the UK because it's still useful to be in London part of the time for
Hmm.
Black History Month, which is October here, to do the writing. There's so much information in museums and archives and institutions here which hasn't been told. It's
Hmm.
not being used. It's just sitting there gathering dust. And that's actually what started me on this journey of writing these books 12 years ago and working with museums because the Black history was just totally being ignored.
Knowing that, what's your view of Barbados and the telling of that history?
Well, Barbados is in a great position and a great place because we have got a lot of intelligent people who understand a lot about history and we've got an interest in it. We're a place where flights come in from all over the world. There is so much potential. But again, as with most things, it's not just about the potential, it's actually about seeing the vision and making it happen. And that's something that will take action. But we have so much potential to develop a Black history industry in Barbados, to develop the children's books around it, and people will be interested. I mean, people know here that I'm from Barbados, and
Hmm.
they find it really interesting to hear my story. They are interested in the books, but they're also interested in how is it that I know these things when I come from Barbados and now I'm in London. So the potential is amazing,
Hmm.
but will we do it? That's what we have to see.
I love it. You're using the word we. You're born in London, you know, and there are people who would say, but that's where I'm from. While I might have lived in Barbados for a little while, I am British. But you don't, how do you see yourself? Do you struggle with an identity where that's concerned?
I don't, because one of the things about the world, and even more so now, is that you can have multiple identities.
Hmm.
I'm very, very comfortable with who I am. My parents are from Barbados. When I was growing up in London, even before I'd ever come to Barbados, I knew where my parents were from.
Hmm.
I had my secondary school education in Barbados. I've lived here for many, many years. So I'm quite comfortable being a British born Barbadian. If people want to diss me as Black British, I'm okay with that too. But I do strongly, strongly identify with my Barbadian culture and heritage.
I love it. What do you miss most about Barbados, though?
My parents and my sister, definitely. The sun, definitely the sun, and the sea, especially at the moment.
Oh boy, you would love it here for real. So your parents are here in Barbados.
Yes, they live in Christchurch.
So could you say hi to them? I just I want to say something to your parents.
Well, I hope that they're up watching this because
They're up,
I
trust
know
me.
I know my sister's watching, but I don't know if my parents are. But if they are, hi, mummy and daddy, I love you.
Oh, that is sweet. All across the waters from the UK to Barbados, mommy and daddy, I love you. If you wanted something sent to you right now that would remind you of Barbados, what would that thing be that we can send over to you?
Wow, that's a good one. Maybe a roti.
You are Barbadian, that is true. You are Barbadian. That roti, a roti from Chifet, right?
Chicken and potato one,
There
yeah.
you go. So Candace, tell me about the book again. Where can we get copies of the book, The Story of Afro Hair?
So with this book, it isn't actually at the moment in any shops in Barbados. It's
Mm-hmm.
been published by very big educational publisher, one of the top in the world, called Scholastic. It's published by their UK section. So if you want it in Barbados, the best way to get it is to go to a website called the Book Depository, and they will offer you the book with free shipping, which is
Mm-hmm.
fantastic. So you don't pay
Yes.
any extra and at a very good price. And my family who have ordered the book from the book depository say that it comes quickly. They're really pleased with the service. So that's the way for
Fantastic.
Barbadians to get the book.
Fantastic. The Book Depository, go there and get it. And it comes free of cost and you get it quickly as well. What a great way. But Candace, it's so wonderful meeting you. Thank you so much for representing Barbados so very well and for writing the story of Afro hair. And I want to encourage everyone to get a copy of the book and all of the other books which you've written as well. You can find her on Instagram at Candace Chimbiri, and there she is, representing Barbados so well. The roti is on its way. Look out for it on the next flight when it lands at Heathrow. Thank
Oh,
you so
thank
much,
you,
Candace.
Pearson.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. You're welcome.
Pearson. Thank
All
you,
the
Barbados.
best. All the best indeed. We're going to take a break here. We're coming back after this.